So in chapter 15, we talked about retailers, wholesalers, and direct marketers, and sort of like the in-depth of those three topics. So basically, first is retail. This is basically the activities involved in selling merchandise to customers. Um, this process is made up of large retailers and smaller retailers. Um, Basically, what they do is they create time, place, and ownership utilities. And this is something that has evolved over the many years. So, for example, in our text, supermarkets were big in the 30s. That's when they started to come along. And then another one would be in the 60s, convenience stores. So over time, more and more different types of retail stores have come out. So there is the retailing strategy. Basically, there's two key steps to this. There is selecting your target market. Um, Different things to consider while doing this would be the size, um, the profit potential, and competition level. Those are different things you want to consider while you select your target market. And then you want to develop your retail mix. So basically, there are 6 components to the retail strategy. You have your merchandising, promotion, location distribution, store atmospherics, pricing, and customer service. So for merchandising, basically, this guides marketers in the decision of the items that are going to be offered. Um, they need to consider the needs and preferences of the target market. So they're not going to put certain items that their target market doesn't need because they're not going to make any sales. They need to look at the competitive environment, um, the different companies that are in competition with them, and then the profitability for each product. Different items are going to have different profitability. Some are going to be more profitable because there might be a higher demand. Others might not be as profitable. So those are the different things that they're going to look at. Next, you have promotion. This is basically all about informing customers on the different aspects, such as store location, store hours, prices, the actual items that are going to be available. This is to create and attract customers, to try and bring in customers, and try and create more loyalty. Um, you want to be able to promote to them as much as possible. There are salespeople. You want to, with those people, they want to like sell up their product, talk it up, and then give suggestions that can kind of help the target market out. So next we have the location and distribution. So this is something that depends on the type of merch, financial resources, the target market itself, and site availability. So those are 4 different things that would affect the location. So for example, you're not going to put your store in a certain location if your target market isn't there. Um, I know, for example, in one of the previous chapters we talked about you can different target markets off of geographically. So like the South is going to have different needs and wants than people of the North. So if you're going to have items that would attract to the Southern people, you're not going to put your store in the northern section of the country. It wouldn't make sense. There are also things called planned shopping centers This is when a group of retailers sort of plan together and come together and form like all together in one area. Um, so that's something that a lot of people do, a lot of retailers will do. Next, we have the store atmospherics. This is basically the image of the store. How are people going to see it and their perception of it? Um, the interior and exterior decor, how nice it looks. You don't want to have a store that looks uh, like a dump. Um, Next, we have pricing. This depends on the objective of the business or the company or whatever. And basically, there are two types of the pricing effects, I guess you could say. There's markups, and this is basically the difference between the selling price of a good and the cost, what it costs to make it. And then there's markdown. So basically, markdowns are price reductions, like what is it reduced by from the original selling point. Lastly, we have customer service. The main goal is to try and attract as many customers as possible. You want to increase sales and increase profits. That's the main goal of any business. So you provide better customer service. People are going to come back. Different services could be lounges, complimentary items, childcare services or virtual assistants, different things like that that are going to make people want to come back and kind of create a little bit of customer loyalty there as well. So next we have bases for categorizing retailers. So we have product lines. This is basically different things like specialty retailers. Things are definitely went in the wrong order, so we're just going to restart that. So form of ownership is one of them. There's corporate chain or chain stores. This is something, a group of stores and like retail outlets that are under the same ownership. An advantage to this would be volume purchases that can help save money. Next, you have independent retailers. An advantage to this would be you can have custom friendly personal service type thing like that. Then you have different services provided. So you have self-service, service selection, full service, different things like that. Something that comes to mind when I think of that would be gas stations. Some gas stations are self-serve, others are you get people to do it for you. Next, you have shopping by like the shopping effort. So convenience. Basically, this is you want accessible locations, accessible hours, and a quick pace to it. Then you have specialty retailers. These guys sort of have their own reputation. They specialize, and they want to try and persuade customers to spend a little more. Next, we have product lines. What I started with, specialty retailers, general merchandise retailers, stuff like that. Wow, I'm taking a long time. Then you have location of retail transactions. And then, yeah, so those are the 5 bases. Uh, Basically, for general merchandise retailers, these guys have like a wide variety of products, stuff like that. Um, and then there's mass merchandisers, which has like an even wider line of goods. There are 4 types of mass merchandisers: discount houses, off-price retailers, hypermarkets, and supercenters. And then showroom and warehouse retailers. That's 5. Anyways, so yeah. Next, we have looking into the wholesaler. Basically, a wholesaler is a person or a company that sells goods in large quantities to low prices, usually to retailers. So an example of this would be Alibaba. This is a wholesaler that you can buy from online, but basically these are the people that distribute the goods and other stuff. Then there's wholesaling intermediary. This is just a term that describes wholesalers as well as agents and brokers. Basically, you want to create utility for wholesaling and wholesaler intermediaries. There's time utility, making products available when customers want to purchase it. There's nothing more annoying than going to buy a product and it's not there. Place utility, and ownership utility. So place utility is helping deliver goods and services for purchase at convenient locations, and then ownership utility, smooth exchange of title to the products from producers. There are major types of wholesaler intermediaries. You have classification based on ownership, so manufacturer owned, independent wholesaling, and then retailer owned. Then you have classification based on title flows, merchant wholesalers, and then agents and brokers. Then we have direct marketing. This is basically marketing through personal sales contact between a buyer and seller. Basically, this is designed to generate sales and keep profits up. So there's many different types of direct selling. You have mail. Usually there's a high response rate to mail. High per reader cost, but a lot of times people consider it to be junk mail, which is not good. Then you have direct response retailing. You have telemarketing. This is over the phone. Internet retailing. Automatic merchandising. So yeah, so those are the different aspects that we looked at for chapter 15. This is by far my longest video.